Democratic lawmakers blocked Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from a key committee spot. Now, I'm going to get into the details of this story, and ultimately, what this shows us is that AOC needs a new approach going forward, and I'm going to get into what that is. So first here, the headline from Politico: Kathleen Rice beats out AOC for spot on coveted House committee. The fight over a seat on the Energy and Commerce panel carries implications for policy and power in the next Congress. I want to give you more details on this, and then I'll get into my thoughts on all of it. Rice and Ocasio-Cortez have been battling behind the scenes for weeks to secure one of the few open seats on the exclusive committee, which oversees everything from healthcare policy to climate issues. Tensions spilled into the open Thursday in a private meeting of the Steering and Policy Committee, where Democrats were forced to choose between the two members in a tense and awkward secret ballot vote. Rice ultimately won in a lopsided vote of 46-13, though it wasn't without some drama after some moderate Democrats openly criticized Ocasio-Cortez. Quote, "I'm taking into account who works against other members in primaries and who doesn't," Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas said on the call, according to multiple sources. Cuellar successfully fended off a primary challenge from Jessica Cisneros, who Ocasio-Cortez supported. Now, this is totally expected. When you challenge power, power is not simply going to let you challenge them and get away with it. They're going to fight back. But that doesn't mean that Ocasio-Cortez should back down. No. That means next time, not only should Ocasio-Cortez back Jessica Cisneros again, who is expected to run against Henry Cuellar again, but she should also back twice as many primary challenges as she did last time. Ocasio-Cortez didn't even back Cori Bush, her friend. Now, Cori Bush luckily didn't need the endorsement, ultimately defeating Lacey Clay in the Democratic primary. But what this shows you is you simply cannot allow leadership. You cannot allow these Democrats who have no interest in actually helping people. Again, that's what this fight is actually about. Who is helping people and who isn't? Henry Cuellar is not on the side of people. He's on the side of corporations. So are you going to fight him, or are you going to allow him to do this kind of shit and prevent you from actually being able to help people? So what you do next time is you back twice as many primary challengers, and you do it earlier. Do it at a time where you can actually help that candidate build their campaign, help them fundraise way early, and allow them to actually mount a successful challenge to whoever they are challenging. But you cannot simply sit back and even like endorsing somebody with a week left in the race. You have to come out early to actually help that challenger. So this is the time to step up, not back down. Now, there's a little more here because this piece of it is also just incredible. Rice, who had been expected to get the seat, attempted to block Pelosi from leading House Democrats in the 116th Congress and is now seen as a crucial vote for the Speaker this time around, since Democrats have a slimmer majority. It's a big turnaround for the Long Island Democrat and former prosecutor. After she spoke out against Pelosi's speakership, Rice was denied a seat on her preferred committee, Judiciary, just 2 years ago. So what this shows you is that when moderate Democrats fight leadership, they end up being rewarded. Now, sure, Rice was blocked initially, but now she has the seat. When it comes to AOC, it's not going to be the same thing. You actually have to replace leadership. And it's because it's not about this drama. It's about ideology. Ultimately, Rice is a more conservative Democrat. She sides with Pelosi and Cuellar in their more conservative ideology. They will never give in to AOC. You simply have to replace them. That is the only option Democrats like AOC, like Rashida Tlaib, like Ilhan Omar, like Cori Bush, like Jamal Bowman, like Mondaire Jones, that is the only option they have, is to actually replace these Democrats who will never actually support any piece of legislation that will actually benefit people, like Medicare for All, like a Green New Deal. So, and just to buttress that point, Li Feng tweets out here, not just Representative Rice beating out AOC, all 5 Dems added to the powerful E&C committee, which oversees energy, healthcare, etc. Representatives Craig, Schreier, Fletcher, and Tron are pro-business New Dem caucus members, all beating progressives vying for seats. This shows you it's about the ideology. It's about these representatives siding. These are the ones siding with business, with corporations. So ultimately, that's what this fight is about. You have to replace these people. And the only way to do that is by primarying them. Now, of course, that requires more than just an endorsement from AOC. It requires movements. It requires small dollar donors. But how do you energize a movement? How do you energize small dollar donors? Through big endorsements like AOC endorsing a primary challenge to these Democratic leaders. Last tweet here from Li Feng. Congressional Progressive Caucus members, Representative Levin and Representative Garcia, got rejected by the caucus along with AOC for roles on the E&C committee. The moderate and conservative Dems are winning these early battles, which will set the legislative agenda for the next 2 years. So what this also shows you is that when it was Donald Trump in power, when it was a Republican Senate, Democratic leadership was a little more okay with pretending to hand some power over to AOC, over to Tlaib and others to make it feel like they're involved, they're part of the discussion. But now that there's going to be a Democratic White House, potentially a Democratic Senate, that power is taken away. They no longer are put on these committees because ultimately these Democrats, these conservative Democrats, don't want AOC and people like her on these committees because they'll actually be pushing for real changes. They'll actually be fighting the corporate establishment, which ultimately is why you can't play nice with them. Primary every single one. If someone, based on their record, based on who gives them money, does not support what you're supporting, support a primary challenge to them, because the people are actually on the side of these progressive legislators. They're on the side of AOC, they're on the side of Tlaib, they're on the side of Ilhan Omar, they're on the side of Jamal Bowman. People don't care about Henry Cuellar. A lot of these conservative Democrats in their seats, they're simply there because people know their name. They're familiar with them. That's it. So if you actually mount a real challenge and do your job in terms of actually getting into the media and discussing those challenges and why you support primary challenges to these individuals, be able to help build that movement, grow that energy, you will get them out and actually at some point potentially get something through that will actually help people.